Hey, it is Dan here, and it is product testing day here at Vivid Racing. We are doing some new agency power intakes on this BMW M4. It's a brand new 2018, so we're pretty pumped to try out these new intakes on the car and show you how it dynos stock and with our new intakes after. So we're going to do the install and then show you how it goes. All right, now we're going to do our first baseline test to see what our numbers are. So we're going to jump in and give it a go. All right, we just finished test one. That was about 345 rear wheel horsepower with correction factor. We did fourth gear, topped out about 125 miles per hour. So we're gonna jump inside again for run number 2 of a baseline and show you how it looks on the dash. So here we go. Okay, we're going to do baseline number 2 here. We start our test at 2,500 RPMs and we do it in fourth gear. We got traction control off and we're in Sport Plus mode. All right, we finished our test, so now let's see what we did here for the baseline. Okay, you can see our 2 baseline tests here, which are very comparable. Obviously, as we've shown in the past with the F80s, you get a lot of heat soak up top, and the turbos can't put out the power, so it starts to drop off. So you can see here we have a peak power on this test here of 335, and again these are stock. The second test, a little bit lower, was at 321. We usually take kind of the average of both. But you see our curves are about the same here. Our AFR is running nicely. We have an AFR as a turbo car should. It comes in high, then it drops down here in the 11.5 to 12.5 sweet spot. So we're at 11.5, which is nice. You can go up to 12 and a half sometimes as well with higher octane. Being that we're only running 91 octane, we usually stay a little bit on the richer side. But you can see here our curves, our baseline curves are real nice. So again, with a Mustang dyno, we usually have about a 15 to 20% drivetrain loss. In all-wheel drive cars, we see up to a 25% drivetrain loss. So these numbers are pretty spot on. You see again, we have about 330, 325, and yeah, so overall, baseline's done. Now we're ready to install the new agency power intake and do some after tests and see what kind of gains we get. So we'll see what happens next. Here's the intake. The new agency power cold air intake is a full, complete redesign of the intake system. It actually has the filter sitting in the front grille. So once this is installed, you'll have a filter that is in front of each grille, so it gets direct cold air, no heat soak from the engine. This is using all roto-molded plastic design. So these are all plastic injected tubes with our agency power high flow air filters. So you get inlet from the front and great flow from all sides. This is a dry filter, this is not oiled, so this is nice. And of course includes the agency power couplers. So we just finished the install now on the M4, so it's got the brand new agency power intakes installed. You can see the twin air filters right in the front grille, sitting right behind the kidney grills. So it's got the new agency power plate, which mounts on top and holds one of the breather lines down. And now we're going to fire it up, and then we'll do some after tests here on the dyno. All right, we're gonna run the first test here with the new agency power intakes. We got D2 behind the wheel. We're gonna give it some gas now. All right, first test we did. Now we're going to run a second test to see if we can get a little bit more adjustment from the ECU with the new intakes. All right, we're gonna do test 3 now. Intakes are working great. We're climbing in power as the ECU adjusts. So here we go for another one. We're going to break down these dyno results here. So we have the solid line with the new agency power front cold air ram intake system. That is showing us a peak power of 347 all-wheel horsepower. We're running this in all-wheel drive just to keep the factory traction control and everything else happy. So you can see here we've got our peak up top here, 347, and then it drops down, which is very consistent with other M4, M3, F80 tests where the turbos just can't handle it at the very top with airflow. You can see here we have 2 different baselines below. Our test 3 shows a little bit less than test 2. That could be, who knows, maybe something heat soak, or vice versa. If we go off of test 2, we're seeing a gain of about 12 all-wheel horsepower. And again, we usually have about a 25% drivetrain loss to the wheels when we run on our Mustang dyno. It is also August, beginning of August here, and about 105 degrees outside here, running on 91 octane. If we compare it to the third run, then yeah, there's about a 26 wheel horsepower gain. But I think if you take the average of those two, showing about a 15 to 17 wheel horsepower gain up top is realistic for the intake. What's interesting is if we compare to past results, you can see how much the tune does for these cars. And when you tune it with the new front cold air ram intake, you're going to get even more horsepower. So for example, if we change the second test to a customer such as, let's see here, this one, we have our VR tune, and you can see quite an increase in the torque and a huge increase in horsepower. You can see it follows pretty much the same curvature. So that's what you see when you do a tune, quite a bit different. Now we can actually even compare, and we go to third test, we can show you what this would look like with downpipes. So downpipes also help these turbos breathe quite a bit better on the exhaust side, so you can see the downpipes adding even more. So the intake is on par with the results we expected. All right, that's a wrap for the agency power intake. We just finished testing on this BMW F82 M4. Made really good results, sounds good, fitment is spot on. Love the look of the dual cone filters up front.
So now it's ready to go up for sale. So I hope you enjoyed this test and dyno session. If you have any questions, leave us a comment. If you're ready to order, check out vividracing.com, and we hope you like it. So thanks. We'll see you at the next one.